Hi, my friends and family. It's me. I'm back here in my alter ego with the preacher hair or whatever you want to call it. Today, my talk is called God's Threat Based Plans Face Off with the Truth in 2024. And you know, you're a sinner. You were born in sin. And the first thing they did after I was born is they took my baby infant body, they cut the umbilical cord, took me away from my mother, and cut my penis to look like a military helmet. See the stone that the builder refused will always be the one you can't lose. 'Cause the stone that the builder refused will always be the head cornerstone. Thing I like about Jamaica is they choose. They put Bible verses in a new song about every year. But it's seldom the ones all about fear. It was the ones that were the words of the truth in there. So, I was talking on the part one about how we're going to see in 2024 a growing, what's called the Great Bifurcation, or the separation of the wheat and the chaff. And there'll be a chasm and growing contrast between the 105% false reality of the narcissist social Darwin and neo-Nazi socialism of California, for example, and the original and future real reality of a truly divine, respectful creator who gave us all free will and originally made this sacred, beautiful globe, and our alien overlord imposter, violent, patriarchal, black hole gods who have no love or respect. Tighten your seatbelt, folks. We are in for an extreme ride. And you know, I think I just realized at this moment that when I read one of the best so-called channeled books, that maybe it was actually channeled by divine beings, but Ken Carey's book that started this whole starseed idea, the Starseed Chronicles. And he talked about that humanity was like a spiritual baby that was about to be born, and 2012 was about, according to these spirits, he was channeling the birth of the spiritual spirit of humanity, the so-called Age of Aquarius. I started to think that maybe the medical mafia, for example, or especially, but all of the mafia, everyone who's completely obedient to Lucifer and the dark side, that maybe that they were there, that even the whole Saturn Moon Matrix was there as a scaffolding that would be thrown out. In other words, afterbirth. That maybe all of this stuff that's happened with the dark side was the afterbirth, so that we would have a strong structure, that it would, after what happened in 2012, for example, there's United States and counties and regions that will never let that happen again. In their mind, at least they're pretty certain about it. So, but we're in a serious phase of polarization here between those who want the respectful, divine Star Trek future where we all have sovereignty and equal, ideally, equanimity, and those who want to control hierarchy, slave planet. Where we're in for an extreme ride of year where perhaps we'll finally see planetary and human freedom is the real rule. That's the optimistic. That's the most beautiful so-called timeline optimistic side. But like sculptors, the requirement is that, rather than a painter, each of us individually and collectively, we're required to discard or recycle the part that is not us, the plan that was not our plan. In other words, the plans that the archons and Lucifer and the demiurge put forth to create slavery, which was not our intention. You could consider that the clay that you're going to have to recycle or throw down, or reject. It's not a part of your creation. Your creation is that beautiful sculpture in the end. However, without doing the shadow work, without doing the archaeology, without doing the excavation work, without doing the spelunking into your subconscious to do the shadow work, you can't arrive at the point of clarity where the archons aren't going to make your life into a loose snack and feed off you. So it's more like being a sculptor a lot of times, to discern your original blueprint and your plan for this lifetime and what you wanted to do with it, if it's harmless and respectful. We have to sculpt our harmless, freed path by removing that which is really afterbirth. In addition to the scaffolding of, their control, it's their mind control, the way that they psychologically manipulated all of us, and that's why I've spent a long time studying psychology. The great bifurcation. In other words, what if the real separation of the wheat and chaff is not the controller tyrants taking everything, and the obedient rising to inherit a peaceful heavenly earth? It is actually the Gnostic realization that there is no legitimate Father God. Not me. I wrote a few decent songs, that's it. I don't have children. God is only within us. But she doesn't have this ego, this patriarchy, this killer trip. And there's no exopolitical salvation or savior figure. No one's coming to save you. Could it be the patriarchal entirely God, the Punisher, the mafia, the prison police system, especially the Khazars and the medical mafia and the Illuminati, as well as Western churches and fascist governments, are the afterbirth as we're finally being spiritually born in truth? That Joel Osteen will be discarded. And I'm not saying that's what I want. I'm just saying that when you see the truth of what prosperity Christianity actually is, there's nothing wrong with abundance. But you see, the Father's wrath is even a factor in the New Testament because it's fear and guilt. So I'm not saying that you should discard your family, friends, or loved ones, or anyone. That's one of the things that these sick, narcissistic people do. It's wrong. However, what I'm saying is that what we're going to see is the legitimacy of the teachings of the angry, jealous father gods and their endless warfare and their prison planet control system dwindling and dying, going away. The number of people that are Orthodox Jews, Christians, Muslims, Catholics going way, 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 way down because they don't want the abuse. I mean, the Catholic priests paying millions of dollars out to people about 10 years ago for all the child sex abuse they had done. We're at a point of post-apocalypse. That's what Mark Passio calls it. Okay, he said apocalypse means revealing. 2024 is past the phase of the revealing, past the phase of disclosure. All the people who didn't take the red pill or who can hear me speak and not hear what I'm saying, they're already in a separate reality. They don't accept what's happening to the planet. And so, of course, the Tantric Buddhists were correct and accurate to say we have to accept everything as it is. But, the serenity prayer is also true, and how far do you want to take it? Because you can influence other people to be a better. You can become a better person. You can help to create a beautiful world on planet Earth. But, you see, what's going to happen is the more adamant you are to do that, like I have been with my show, especially because I didn't know the technology and I was shadow banned and I didn't work all the media like appropriately like a person who was a housey would know how to do, perhaps. What I'm saying is that you might lose friends who are churchians. You might lose friends who are statist and obedient and dependent and think it's the greatest virtue in the world to be a wage slave. And people who think that I'm a nutcase for saying that the fact that it's like about 25 degrees colder than it was yesterday when the sun was out implies that this is a fake-ass rainstorm. Because I've been in this town over 20 years. In fact, I got to Santa Cruz in a crazy rainstorm. And when the cloud coverage, before there was so much, before Operation Space Fence was up and running, before there was a, 3-month-long atmospheric river last year that destroyed 90 farms in this county alone, it would become warmer during a rain. I miss rainy season. I abhor all these rains that have had planes dumping things into them, including nanotech lithium and nucleated ice to make it nearly freezing in a town where it would never be organically this close to freezing, ever. Okay? That's how I feel, because I go to Geoengineering Watch, I do my research, and I don't believe lies. And so, the point is that if you believe you're a sinner, if you believe you have to obey the government or pay your rent, your taxes, if you have children or you have responsibilities and you have to do projects that you absolutely, need to private space to do those things, I mean, that's one thing. But I'm just saying, in the long term, for the rest of your life, if you have to do these things out of threat, out of fear, out of the authority of Father God or the Royal British Crown, the Lord Rothschild or whoever the banksters are that are your banksters, repossessing your house, for example. If you have to do these things, if you have to pay your mortgage under fear, under threat-based plans, you're going to see how in the next year that's really gonna face off whatever threat-based plan you might obey. It's going to face off with the spiritual truth of the peace, of the harmony, of the resiliency, of the real soul of the original human race, and the fact that the Mother Earth, the sacred Mother Earth, never charges anyone a penny of rent. She just asks that we respect her, keep it clean, don't leave a trash, respect the earth, don't terrorize it, don't do this stuff to the ionosphere. You see, the father gods and the patriarchy in the New World Order is 150% opposed to respect. All they care about is control and keeping their energy and their power source going. They don't care how many people they have to kill. They don't care about the earth. And this is who we're going to die for if we obey. Okay? So the truth is, if you're going to die for something, if you're going to live for something, why not choose something respectful like the divine sacred Christ within us all? Why not choose something respectful like a harmless, helpful occupation that serves others, that makes the world a better place, that doesn't cause more harm? Because every single time you or I or anyone does anything that causes more harm to others, it's just a karma boomerang. In 2024, you're going to see the karma boomerangs faster. And it's just gonna be lickety split quick. Event 201, the whole idea that Lucifer and the Illuminati have had that they can bounce karma. Look at how much Hollywood has lost since 2020. Look at how spiritually moronic and retarded they've shown themselves to be. Now, is that where you want your children, your future to be? No. You want your children and future to be in the arms of the respectful, divine, original creator who would never rape or harm them, who has respect and gives us all free will. If you enjoyed this, if you haven't already, subscribe, like, follow me, and Check me on Odyssey for a deeper and more harsh red pill. And you know what? Let's make this world a better place within truth, respectfully. Love you, family.